10 minutes ago, when Wifus was in chaos, Ed and Janica went to someone's room in Wifus Hall, and they punched a hole in the wall of the room just to get in. While looking at the occupant of the room, Ed then asked, "You know the situation outside is chaotic, so why don't you come out of your room?" The occupant of the room turned out to be Zix, who was still practicing. He also looked surprised when he saw them breaking into his room just like that. After hearing Ed's question, he then replied that he did not want to act rashly. Also does not mean we will die just because a building collapsed. Hearing his answer, Ed admired his calmness. He asked how calm a strong person was. Zix then continued, "But if they destroyed the wall, what about him? Wouldn't he be cold if he slept?" When looking at his stature and nature, surely no one thought that he was a mage. He then looked at Janica, who was beside Ed, while scratching the back of his head. Zix said this was the first time he greeted her properly. Their interaction was not good during the Glasgow incident. Hearing that, Janica then apologized for that. Seeing Janica, who looked sad, Ed then told her not to be so sad. After all, her punishment was over. Janica's feelings became better after getting comfort from him. She then thanked him for that. After seeing the interaction between the two of them, Zix then asked, were they in a relationship? Janica then blushed at that. She then frantically replied, "No, that's not it." But she then fell silent for a moment after glancing at Ed, who was putting on a poker face. She then anxiously asked if he was upset to hear that. Ed replied no, it was just Zix's question that was impolite. Janica then felt relieved after hearing that. Zix then bowed and apologized for asking such a thing, but he was confused about why they came all the way here, even to the point of destroying the walls of his room. Hearing that, Ed then said that if he wanted to ask him for a favor, he would return the favor later. Back to the present, after giving Ed such intimidating words. Elt then asked him if he was lured by Lortel's beautiful appearance. He also suggested, instead of staying loyal to her for gold that was uncertain, he told him to just take the certain advantage that was right in front of him. Lortel was born having fox blood and had a cunning nature. If she saw someone's back, she would immediately stab it. He who had raised her since she was a child, knew this more than anyone else. He would give him double the gold that Lortel promised right now, so he told him to get out of the way. Hearing his offer, Ed just said thanks, but since he was not promised to be given a penny of gold, then why would he double it? Hearing that, Elt understood. He just felt that Ed could not digest this situation well. Seeing the situation that turned tense, his subordinates immediately understood and prepared to attack. Ed also realized that. Elt then told his subordinates to get rid of him quietly. Ed then immediately ran away in the midst of the pursuit of Elt's subordinates, but his escape route was then immediately blocked by two people. But a strong wind magic suddenly fell on the two of them who blocked Ed's way. The wind magic turned out to come from Zix, who had been there for some time. He then asked if he was okay. Seeing his arrival, Ed then said he would check the situation, so he told them to distract Elt's subordinates during that time. He would return the favor later. They understood. Zix also said that he was the one who owed him a favor first, and they then prepared their attack. Seeing that, Elt realized that they were not students who could be underestimated, so he then told his subordinates to exert all their strength. Right after Elt said that, his subordinates then together rushed towards them, while Ed himself was now still rushing away from there. His goal now was to find Lortel, to convey this situation, but he was then surprised to see that Lortel was behind him. Ed then asked if she couldn't get out. Lortel was confused about how to explain it, but Ed didn't really care about that. He then invited her to go out through the back door first. He also asked if she still had the energy to run. He told her not to miss and follow him closely. The sense of excitement and trust was always there for a reason. The reason Shero, the receptionist of the Elt merchantry, liked Lortel was because he hoped that Lortel would accidentally leak important information and make money from it. The reason Cadden, the merchantry employee, became especially cheerful in the presence of Lortel was because Lortel often gave him extra money. The reason Teeny, the academy's pet bird, liked to stick to Lortel was because the seeds Lortel gave it were of the best quality. Every pleasure was accompanied by a reason. At least, that was how it was in Lortel's world. While on their escape, Ed realized that there was no time to explain in detail, but he was sure it must be Alice who had betrayed her. Hearing that, Lortel suddenly blamed herself. She blamed herself for the stupid and silly mistakes she had made. She was not like Janica, who grew up being liked and loved by those around her, and thought to face the world solely with joy and love. The day she made the offer to Ed, she saw it. The intense look in Janika's eyes as she looked at Ed, saw a girl who did not want anything in return, who did not need gifts or greed. He also wondered if she could also have such a relationship, and finally she leaked all her plans to Alice. She lived a life by never trusting someone completely, but unknowingly she had violated that principle. If she knew it would happen, she should not have lost sight of her own gloomy, grimy self. He should not have the delusion of being a person who has a romantic life. This time, for the incident of controlling the Ophilus Hall, she had bribed 5 people, among others, the head maid Alice, the twin maids Sheeny and Kelly, Will Rain the representative of the lower-ranked students, and Ed the fallen noble. Alice, Sheeny and Kelly are now siding with Elt, Will Rain who she thought would follow Elt, although he didn't, but he also didn't become an ally. The only one left is this person. Lortel then suddenly apologized to him. She also wondered why she said this, to an ally anyway. She then said that at this time, she couldn't guarantee the 20 gold coins she had promised. As he could see, the situation was unstable. Lortel herself was confused why she would say such stupid nonsense, but she was then shocked, when she heard Ed say that he didn't ask that. While holding her hand, he then said that they didn't have much time. Why she just stood there, what she was doing. If she was captured by Elk now, then her life was over. Planning for the future or do anything else, what she should be thinking about now was how to escape. Ed then ran back while holding Lortel's hand. Lortel could only be stunned with a feeling of disbelief in her heart. She originally believed that joy and trust always appear because there is a reason. If we can't see the reason, then we shouldn't trust. She always believed that. Ed then told her to explain the situation. Hearing that, Lortel then explained, there was a plan to manipulate the market designed by the headquarters. It was probably her father's doing. After the large-scale conquest of monsters in the eastern mountains last summer, the price of armor plummeted. If the Elk merchantry buys up all the armor to a large extent and monopolizes it, and conducts transactions internally with their own people, then the price will be determined by them. Hearing that, Ed then concluded. In short, the plan was to manipulate the market. So he told Lortel not to explain it further. Lortel was surprised to hear that. She confirmed that, as for the plan, her father was in a situation that required funds urgently. Her father found someone who was willing to buy the Sage's Scroll at a high price, so he made her go to Sylvania to find a way to steal the Sage's Scroll. Ed immediately understood the situation. So he then told Lortel not to explain it further. Price fixing was a classic scheme where 3 merchants, A, B, and C, monopolized cheap goods in the market and traded with each other to raise the price intentionally, and due to the lack of supply in the market which made others unable to buy, the price would continue to rise. In such a situation, people think, it's time to buy, and at that time, they would sell the goods they had stockpiled and make a tremendous profit, but, such a scheme relied heavily on trust. If Merchant B and Merchant C sold their goods in the market without the knowledge of Merchant A, then the price would plummet in an instant. Because Merchant A had gone to the trouble of monopolizing the goods, establishing cooperation, and stockpiling the goods as well, Alta's Merchant A in the parable would face huge losses alone and was on the verge of losing his position. For this scheme, Lortel had bribed many other merchants from Merchant B and Merchant C for years, but only when Elt had left the headquarters of the Elt merchantry would the 6 merchants she had bribed get the right to approve the sale. Based on the story, Ed concluded, she raised the scale of the Ophilus Hall control incident to corner the Academy's finances. It would increase the chance of success in the negotiation for the purchase of the Sage's Scroll. The main thing is, she planned to lure Elt, who needed urgent funds to get him out of the headquarters, then immediately sell the armors. Lortel was shocked to hear that. She didn't expect Ed to conclude that far. Ed continued, then, there is only one thing she has to do, which is to send a message to the Elk merchantry headquarters, and tell them to sell the armors right now. Hearing that, Lortel said that she had a carrier pigeon in her room. It was a device that could directly connect to her forces at the headquarters. Hearing that, Ed then told her to send the message using the carrier pigeon and stay hidden until the sales plan at the headquarters was executed. That way she would win. But Lortel hesitated. She suspected that maybe her father had anticipated this a little. He planned to arrest her tonight and force her to confess all her plans and expose the company traitors. Ed was silent for a moment after hearing that. He then told Lortel to listen carefully. Now, hide in a safe place without being seen as much as possible. If he were an Elt, he would definitely send some people to wait at the two bridges that became the road to the Arkan Mountains. She will definitely be followed if she passes there. Tell the horsemen at the headquarters to just drive an empty horse carriage out of the Arkan Mountains, then leave the carriage in a proper place and tell the horsemen to run away. They will mistakenly think she has left the Arkan Mountains. Lortel understands. In the North Forest, there is a cabin he built. So he told her to just wait there for 3 days, for her carrier pigeon. He will go to her room and bring it. Just write a message like selling right now and send it. Other complicated matters will be handled by the headquarters. Hearing that, Lortel carelessly just said he was right. Ed also realized the strangeness of Lortel's attitude. He then grasped both shoulders of Lortel firmly and said, "There is someone guarding the back door. He will go out and handle it, then go to her room." He told her to wait there for a while until the person gone, then run to the headquarters. The two of them are like fellow merchants who have been allied for a long time. Their movements and ways of handling problems are very efficient, even to the point of making people believe that they can entrust everything to them. Seeing her silence, Ed then asked if she really in her senses. She was not usually unfocused like this. Hearing that, Lortel then said that she understood. She thought this time it might really work. With a feelings of hope, she then asked why he was willing to go so far to help.
So, friends, this chapter comes to an end. What will happen next? We'll uncover it in the next chapter. Don't forget to rate this chapter out of 10 in the comments. We'll see you in the next video. Until then, take care and goodbye. Don't forget to like the video and subscribe to the channel.